message in the comment section. If you love the show, let us know. Share some love with us. If you want us to change something, let us also know about that. But in the studio with me today, I have a man who is called Osito Jacob, but he's known as OJ on the basketball court. That is his street name. He has been a coach for Namilyango, he has coached at Hilton, and right now he's coaching the Makerere University Sparks basketball team. And he's here to talk about his experience and also to talk about the status of sports in university in relation to basketball. OJ, before we went for the break, you were just telling us your journey of how you started off and ended up as a coach for Makerere University Sparks, and I believe you're doing a very good job with the girls. We just want to dive into the main topic right now. Obviously, you've played basketball at the university level.
Yeah, sure.
And from where I'm sitting, I think that basketball in the university has dropped, okay? Not only at Makerere University,
Yeah, sure.
but looking at it on a general scale, on a general picture. Because back in the day, we had a lot of university tournaments. You know, you talk about there was the University League at some point. There was the Floodlights at a certain point. We had games, East African games and all these things. And one could say that because of the lockdown, okay, it slowed down a couple of things.
Sure.
But if memory serves right, the University League, then the Floodlights actually stopped way before the lockdown came in. Yes, about 2017. Okay, and I think since then, basketball has really been on a decline. We've been focusing more on basketball in the league. Okay, so according to your perspective, okay, what are some of those points that you can share with us that led to, let's say, I don't want to say the downfall of basketball, but the decline of basketball at the university level?
Well, on that issue, with the current situation, I am not the best person to answer that question because I don't have the detailed information. As I told you, I am a rookie in this field. So surely, but at least because I was playing at the university level, I do have some information, at least out of observation. But putting the issue of lockdown and corona aside, I think that the reason why basketball is declining generally in universities, I think it's because of the kids who are coming into the universities. I think their kind of basketball is not the same kind of basketball like the one of the kids, of the guys who used to join basketball that time. So the talent that is in right now is, I could say it's raw compared to the talent that used to come in those days. We can't put out the aspect of the people who are joining university by then were mature men who knew what they wanted and what they were doing. They had the self-drive. But right now, the people who are joining university can only train when the coach is there. You can see how that is a big challenge. So for me to make sure that my team is ready, I have to be on the basketball court on the official training days and even other days that I'm not supposed to be there. Because if I don't show up, chances are high that many of them are not going to show up. But if I show up, even if I'm not supposed to be there, but then I just show up, they will know that, oh, on such and such a day, coach passes by and he says on our free days we should shoot. So let me go and take a few shots. So that's what drives them. But compared to the days that you and I joined, maybe yours were much better than ours, but even me, the times I joined, when you wanted something, you would go and work for it. And I think that is one of the disciplines that I was taught maybe from high school, that when you want something, you go for it, you work for it, you push for it. You don't need someone else to push you to get what you want. And I think that is one of the things that we are lacking right now and I don't know how that can even be worked upon, because surely if the kids are finishing high school when they are younger, whose fault is that? I don't think that's anyone's fault. But maybe if the coaches in high school could do the job, which is also very hard because high school needs a lot of time and yet they have the least time, by the way, compared to the university. So the aspect of the people who are joining in being younger is what is causing the biggest difference right now in the way basketball seems those days and now. But now when you talk about the aspect of the different leagues, I think I'm not the best person to answer that, because now that includes the issues of money, the sponsors, the institutions. I don't really know how much they operate to know that they want, because I really don't know why the Floodlights was cancelled. I'm one of those who played it. I think I played the last season of Floodlights because I think that was 2017, I remember, with Makerere University. Yes. When I was there, I remember it was always played at night. That's why I think the name Floodlights was there. Yeah. I remember we moved to Nkumba. We moved, yes, in Entebbe, we moved to UCU, and it was something very interesting and very motivating. It would give us reason to work out even more. But now, without those games, of which I don't know the reason why they have scrapped them, I really don't know the technical issues, but without those games, you find that most of these students think they're working for December. The same mentality that we had in high school, that you only prepare for qualifiers, for nationals. Yes, you only prepare for nationals. And when it's done, second term, no sports, third term, no sports. That's the environment I came from. I don't know if it was different in your years.
It was the same thing.
Yeah. So now for university sports, we see that nearly it's the same thing. Because right now, right now they are preparing for nationals. The league aside, they're preparing for nationals. And then after that, the following end of the following year, they're preparing for East African Games. Are you seeing that? So there is a lag in between that time. So a student who is not playing on the university team at the club level has nothing pushing them to work at that time, because they feel like they have a whole 9 months to work. And you know, when you have a lot of time in your hands, you might think it's too much until it's actually too late. So that is the other thing that is also making it very hard for the game to develop very fast. The tournaments are very limited. There are very few. I mean, if you have only one tournament in a year, that means you're telling these guys to begin training like 2 months to the tournament. But if they had more than that, I believe the talent would improve faster, because these guys would actually work even more. And you very well know that most of the universities right now, if you are to have players who are to make the university team look good, you will not pick the junior players who are there. You'll want to look for the most experienced, even the alumni if there is need, so that you don't get relegated, because that's also, you know, we also don't want to look bad. Coaches don't want to look bad. So they also want to survive, so they end up looking for those who already know. Because even when they're picking players from high school, they're also picking those who already know. And that's why you see that institutions that who have their teams that are doing much better, for them they get players straight from high school and they pick the best in terms of scholarships and sponsorship and all those other things. But which is also there in Makerere, although it's limited, I think, because I don't know much about it. I still don't have that much information about how the scholarship works. But we could also see it even that in high schools, the same issue is happening. The basketball in high school is now being dominated by, those days it was dominated by a few schools, because those few schools had the players and had the heart and they would work out. But right now it's dominated by a few schools, because those are the schools that put in the money, they give in the scholarships. I think the same thing applies to the universities. Those who put in more have better players and players who are more committed to the work. Now, those who put in less, generally all universities, those who put in less, you find them struggling, because we are convincing players to come and play, and then they are going to leave at coach. I'm commuting, I have to go home early. Now, they are leaving their classes maybe at 4:30, and then practice starts at 5, and then at 6:30 they have to go. Now they have to compete with a student who has his time there. He knows, after my training here, I'm just sleeping next here. I have my supper well prepared, no matter how late I leave. Even tomorrow I can come in the morning and I shoot, because I know I'll go back to where I sleep and I have breakfast. I think that's also another reason why basketball is being dominated by also a few universities. Because in my opinion, our basketball has been dominated by majorly UCU and Ndejje, because Ndejje is doing very well, Then the rest of the universities, especially the traditional universities like Makerere, Kyambogo, Mbarara University, we seem to be struggling in those fields. And I would think that maybe it's because the other people are putting a lot of effort in that compared to us. That's my opinion, that's what I think. And it's making the whole thing look like, you know, it's going down. But it's a big challenge. which I don't know how we are going to go about it, because this is something that requires the management of the institutions, surely, Because me as a coach, no matter how much love I have for the game, there is no I'm going to tell them, you know what, I can make these guys champions, put in the money or do ABCD. They will tell me, but this is how the process works, and I cannot change that. So actually, my option right now as a coach, because I'm in the position, and I'm not going to sit down, I'm like, the system is hard, so let us struggle, because we have been struggling. Me as a coach, what I think my best option is that, which is also a principle, is don't fight the system or don't try to change the system. Just find how it works and see how you can work best with it. Yeah, that is something I heard from gentleman called Jim Rohn, if you watch those guys. So I am not going to fight the system, but I am looking for a way that I can use the system the way it is to bring positive results. So I put in extra time, I talk to these people, I give them reports as much as possible so that they know that something is going on. Because one thing I believe in is that if you're doing something good, you'll be appreciated. Yeah, and if you want something to be done, show them that you can handle it. Let them only come to support you, not them initiating the process. And that is one of the things that drives me. And people even ask me, but how comes for you? You're always there. Who pays you? Where do you get the money? They even tell you Makerere doesn't pay, but that is their opinion. Because when you're given a job somewhere, sure, that means they're supposed to pay you. But if they say Makerere doesn't pay, Makerere doesn't give money, maybe that is their experience. I don't know. Maybe if I experience it, I'll come back and tell you. But for now, I can't say that. For now, I believe that the resources might be limited, but the basketball court is there, the basketballs are there, the players are there. I think I also have a big role in motivating my players and talking to them and convincing them. That is what I'm doing right now. And I believe it's going to take me quite some time to produce the team I would want to see. Because now I am trying to see how I can work within the system the way it is. So it's going to take me time, because now that means I have to nurture junior players who are just coming in, which has not been the case, and it's not the case with other universities. Other universities get players whom they know are going to actually do the job. Now for us to get players, we get people who know how to play the game, not players. We get people who know how to play the game, and then we convince them to come and play for the university. Are you seeing how that is different? So by the time you convince someone, then they show up, and then you're telling them that we can't pay you, and the other side they are being paid. It makes things very hard, because Makerere, I'm sure Makerere has students who are actually players in other clubs. Are you seeing that? But even them coming back to play for the university, they'll ask you, what are you offering? Are you giving us transport? Are you giving us this? If it's there, which sometimes it's there, if it's there, they are willing to come. But if it's not there, you are going to, try and convince them. And of which, if you convince them and they said no, surely you wouldn't force them, because they will tell you, but the situation is hard, and you're also seeing it's hard, so you wouldn't push so hard. But once in a while, we convince them and they come around, and we also want them to inspire the new ones. But the best option for us right now is to build those who are around. So for a university like Makerere to reach the level of UCU and DJ, it's going to be a long process, of which some people are not going to be patient enough to see that happen. Others don't even believe it can happen. I see that. But personally, I think that is what can work for me. I believe that is what can make us look different. And for the other universities, I don't know what their coaches and the administration plans to do and what. But for me, on my side, and generally university sports, I think that's what I've given you, what makes us look like we are falling down, but I've also shown you how we plan to move up.
I was actually going to ask you how we can get up. We're going to take another break right now. I like what you're saying about university sports and the perspective of why it's going down and how it can be rebuilt. Well, for our viewers out there, this is House of Talent Television, the Slam Dunk Basketball Talk. Remember, we're on our socials and you can hit us up, drop us a message in our inbox, in our comment section. Let us know what you love about the show. If you have a question for OJ here, let us know, we'll ask him. But we'll take a break right now. We'll be right back. This is the Slam Dunk Basketball Talk on House of Talent Television.
lot has been happening in the game of basketball. First of all, as Slam Dunk Basketball would like to first thank the Silverbacks for doing the nation proud and for making it to the first time in the quarterfinals of the Afro Basketball Championship down in Kigali. It was a tough task, and history was made when the Silverbacks, our boys, were able to beat on Nigeria.
Welcome back to Slam Dunk Basketball Talk on House of Talent Television. My name is Emmanuel Ateng, and with me in the studio today is Osiko Jacob, aka OJ, better known as OJ on pool court, actually, you know, where we do pick up sometimes in the evening. And OJ has been taking us through his story, basically where he started from, how he ended up as the coach for the Makerere Sparks, that's the university team at Makerere. And he also told us about the status of sports, especially basketball in the universities, why it seems like it's on the decline, and what are some of the things that can be done to raise it back to the level where it's supposed to be. And having young people like this in those positions of coaching is a very good thing. So if you're out there, you're a young coach, you're a young player, and you want to get involved into the game of basketball and put it back to the level where it's supposed to be and take it higher, this is your opportunity. We're hearing very wise words coming in from the coach here. And I just want to backtrack a bit, back to that story you told us about being in school and, you know, not being allowed to play on the team, because I know that in most high schools, actually, there is always that divide between the guys in the higher classes and the guys in the lower classes.
Your elders.
Yeah, your elders. In some schools, they actually say those two don't mix. They're like volatile, you know, chemicals. And you were telling us a story about how you were not actually allowed to get onto the basketball court, you know. And how did that feel? And what lessons can some of these kids pick up from it? Because I know that there are certain kids in primary school, even at the university level, who want to play, but they look at you guys now, the elders, and they're like, how do we get into, you know, this part? So just take us through that situation you went through, and, you know, some of the lessons that these kids can learn and how they can be encouraged to get into the game of basketball.
Okay, thank you. Yes, with that, flashing back to my time in high school, because that's where things were hardest. You know, the start is always the hardest part. As I told you, for me, I came from a primary school where basketball was not known as a sport. My primary school had a secondary section that had a basketball court, but we used not even cross there, so I really had no idea. I first saw basketball when I went to KPC. That was in my vacation of P7. That was in end of 2007. But when I was at Namilyango, I was with classmates who had come from primary schools that had the background of basketball, which is what I didn't have. What I had was height. For them, they had the skill. And you see, when you're at that level, it doesn't look like height works. It looks like it's the skill that counts. And they didn't see the skill in me. So actually, these guys are my good friends, but I'm sure they also did it unknowingly, having been senior ones. But they never gave me the chance to. I felt very, very disappointed one time when these guys were told, hey, the junior team, make a squad that is going to play. We're actually going to SMAC, that is Chisubi. We're going to SMAC, and they were saying, hey, you guys make a team. In my head, I knew I am going. And you know, as I told you, going out was the most interesting thing when we were in high school. So I was in senior 2, And it was the first, for us in Namilyango, it's rugby players who used to go out so oftenly.
Yeah.
Basketballers, your opportunity would come once in a while. So the time had come where I was sure now I am going on merit.
Yeah.
Little did I know that my friends on the other side are like, that tall guy cannot make it. So we prepare that weekend. I don't check the list assuming that I am going. I don't check.
Yeah.
The following morning, I go to the dining hall. That was a Saturday morning, to see the list of those who are going, and my name is not there. I was heartbroken. I even actually, with all the anger, I still went to the bus with the hope that I would enter. Yeah. I stood there, I saw them enter, and I saw them leave. I was in senior town. And in my head, I was like, you know what? You guys have done this to me, but one day, I'll be the one writing your names on that list. Yeah. So after that, actually, I remember that day I went back to play. Because I enjoyed the game, actually. Other than just going out, I enjoyed the throwing in, and it was actually my shooting started. I think that's the talent in me. The talent is just shooting. The other part of the dribbling, I think I don't have that. Yeah. But I enjoy just throwing that ball, and it would just go in like automatically. And everyone would be wowed by that. They would see me and they're like, that guy can actually do it. Yeah. But my teammates actually knew this guy can't bounce the ball, he can't dribble, and we need someone who can dribble. They didn't really think they needed someone who could do what I was doing. Yeah. But then I also realized that that is the advantage they had over me. That is the skill they had come with from primary school that I didn't have. So I began working out on my own. I put in more effort. Unknowingly, out of, I don't know whether it was anger or excitement, but unknowingly, I put in a lot of effort in basketball when I was in high school. Even with the challenges that come with, high school, you don't have that much time. At a school like Namilyango, when it's time for this, all of you go and do that. When it's time for the other, but all my free time, I would put it into basketball. Yeah. So I learned the game, and these guys began accepting me. Each time they realize that when they are playing with me, I make the shots and the shots drop, and it's the shots that makes their team go out. They were like, I think we need this guy if we have to stay. So that's how my fellow junior players in high school by then allowed me into the circle of basketball. Yeah. And because of my work ethics, in a year, the following year, I was one of their best. Yeah, and I was more like their captain. And before I knew it, my senior 4, I was the captain of the school team until I left. Yeah. So that's how I broke through in that field. But then I had another challenge of my parents, my guardians for this matter. Yeah. They never wanted me to play basketball. Yeah. And the reason, having been our background, I had a cousin who was playing rugby. He was really, really good. One time they went to play in a tournament in Chadondo, and he got a concussion. I don't really know what happened. I even didn't know what a concussion was until it happened to him. Yeah. So they took him to the hospital, and I don't know what the school took care of and what they didn't. But then they called our guardians at home, and they were like, your boy is in the hospital, this and this happened, please come and check on him. And we have true African parents. They are very furious and very tough on certain things. So when they went there, now I was the one to be talked to. Yeah. You see what we told you. You see what we told you about sports. Yeah. Why would you go and do these things? I don't want to hear anything concerning sports. Yeah. And in my head, I was like, but that was not me. That was rugby. I don't even play rugby. I don't even know it. Yeah. So that is how I felt. But they had made up their minds. And they were like, you went to Namilyango to study. I was like, okay, I'll study, but when I get my time, I'll... So I studied, I did well, I passed, I went back to Namilyango. But then, actually, my first qualification for nationals, we had a challenge. We had never qualified for nationals during my time there. I don't know the years before me, but I never had. But I can't assume I was the first, because the salaries were actually there. But the time I was there, they didn't qualify. That was 2018. And all my time there, we had never gone for nationals, and it was more like a dream. And now it was me driving the team. And I remember I had guys like Orenga Daniel. When we were in O-level, we were together in Namilyango there. Of all the guys who play basketball, he's still the only guy whom I see. The others have gone into other things. So in our senior 4, I led that team into qualifying for the first nationals. It was an exciting moment. It's like we had made it in life. We were so happy that actually, I remember that time we were playing, it was at Seta High, Green Campus, and Namagunga ladies were there. and now Namilyango and Namagunga. For us, we were always friends for all that time, and here we were playing basketball. So when we won, we did something that was very interesting. Our excitement made us make push-ups after the game instead of stretching, like to show them that we were the ones in charge. It was that interesting, and that's when I realized that, you know what, actually we can go further than this. So the following years, unfortunately, Orenga joined Mengo SSC. That's why he was playing, and then I remained with guys who literally knew little, and now it was my responsibility to make sure that these guys can actually make us reach there. I used to tell my colleagues, my classmates, I used to tell them that you guys, one day, we shall also bring a trophy like rugby players bring trophies here. So I used to tell them that. But here we are senior 4, we have qualified for nationals. We were supposed to go for nationals in the holidays of first term. I thought what my guardians had said was a joke. That is when I realized they were not joking. Now I was the captain of this team, I led them here, and now we are going for something bigger. And then this was supposed to sign this document, and they're like, no. The sportsmaster calls my mzee, and he's like, no. I don't know if they even told the headmaster, I don't know, but things failed. I sat down, I was like, okay, next year things will be better. The following year, we again qualified. Me being their captain, we had a chance. I was like, okay, this time round, I am going, I'm sure. And my teammates were like, this time round, we are all going. The gentleman again said no. I felt like giving up. Because I was like, now, this is what we work for the whole year. And now, it's only within first term. Why would he stop me from going for this thing? But I realized that he was seeing far ahead than I was seeing. For me, my thoughts were about basketball at that time and having the fun and going out with my friends. But for him, his worry was I might forget that I have books to read. That was his worry. Of which, right now, after many years, when I reached campus, that's when I realized that, by the way, he was right. But still, I'm sure he also realized that, by the way, he was wrong to a certain extent. Because when I reached campus, he was like, he used to ask me, so how is that game of yours? He used to call it netball. And I used to tell him, no, mzee, it's basketball. He's like, hey, it's okay. After 2 days, like, hey, so you're still playing netball? I'm like, no, it's basketball. So he later allowed me to play it. I think he realized that I could handle both. That's when he was like, okay, you do what you can. But I qualified with my team once, twice. The third time, actually the third time I remember we played, Orenga was my very good teammate, and he was a strong force. But we were playing our second final actually. In Orenga was not there. As I told you, when Orenga left, I had a vacuum, so I had to coach other guys in the lower class, so that I can have a full team. By then, our sportsmaster was called Mr. Kwaja. So Kwaja was a very interesting man. He loved the game. He was very enthusiastic. He would push. And that's why I also loved him so much, because he would make things happen. So Orenga left, we had a vacuum, and I had kids who knew how to play the game, but they were not good enough. So it was now my responsibility to make sure that by the time we go for the next games, these guys can play. So that's when I took now the coaching thing to another level. Now I told them, guys, every Saturday morning before we go to clean, we have to go and train. Every Sunday evening from 2, we train. When the coach is not there, we shall be there. And I was in charge. And the beautiful thing is that I am blessed, because when I say something, people always listen to me. So these guys listened to me, and I think they also saw my vision. So we're on the same page. And we were very lucky that in my last year in high school, I managed to play with these guys. That was actually 2013, because I had to resit up because of playing basketball. One time I played it too much, I failed, but later I caught up. So my second last year in high school was my last year of playing high school basketball. Because you're given 6 years only to play. So by then I was in senior 5, but it was my last year. And I was like, God, I've always wanted to bring a trophy. I told these rugby players that I want them to bring a trophy like they do. If it doesn't come now, then I'll miss it, because it's my last opportunity. God blessed me. We played with those young men whom I had taught. I remember there were senior 3s. I was in senior 6. There were senior 3s and some senior 4s. We met St. Michael in the final. Those guys could dominate Mukono basketball. Jesus Christ. Those guys they were on another level. So we meet these guys in the final, and yes, we were like, it ends today. And to me, it was my last opportunity to win a championship. for that region. And yes, it came in. That year I won it, and I was very excited. I forgot about the aspect of, I stopped fighting to go for nationals. Yeah. I realized that no matter how hard I fight, Muzeya said, man, I'm paying school fees for school to study, not for basketball. So I tuned my mind. I was like, you know what? If I keep on fighting that other side, I'll be wasting my own time. Let me concentrate on what I have. So I concentrated on what I had. We made it through, and we got the championship with the likes of Asede, of now Knight Riders in Entebbe. Yeah, so my persistence as an individual is what helped me get to that level. Yeah, I kept on insisting and pushing. And interestingly, when I went to campus, the same challenges are faced, because when you reach the university, you find people who know the game and they know it. And that means, for example, you know pool court. You go to pool court there and guys are playing. You cannot just go there and start playing. You have to introduce yourself. So I introduced myself. I went in there once, twice. I was shooting that shot. They were like, okay, this guy. What's your name? Moje. And it's my persistence and showing what I could do that made guys now believe in me. And I got into the system. And I was very much disciplined in that I would always do what I am supposed to do.
Because the situation is never going to be favorable. Okay, there's always going to be ups and downs, but the ones who come out at the top are the ones who keep pushing. We've come towards the end of the show, and I know that there are people out there watching you, especially your girls. I know that you have a tournament in November. That's the 3-on-3 tournament.
Yes.
So as we close the show, I just want you to look into that camera and just talk to the girls, encourage them. Also, anyone out there who's trying to get into the game of basketball, you being a coach and a player, just encourage them, to get into the game of basketball. For those who are trying to be good, just let them know from your perspective as a coach and a player.
Okay, let me start with my players. I strongly believe that we can go far. I believe it from right here. And I want my players to also believe in it. I have drawn a program that if we follow very, very well, we shall not go wrong. So believe in me and believe in yourselves. Putting that extra effort, putting that extra energy, it pays off at the end of the day. Now, to those who want to join the game, the truth is it's hard, it's tough, it's not going to be easy. But giving up is not an option. Those who give up never become good players. Maybe they become commentators or what. But some of them, you can become a coach without playing. If you want to become a coach without playing, that's an option. But if you want to play the game, always in the personal effort as an individual. Always be open to learning. That's one thing that I've always done. I always want to learn from other people. Even right now from other coaches, I always want to learn from them. When I have a chance to bring them in to talk to them, I always ask them, Coach, how do you do this? How can I do that? And you shouldn't be in a position whereby you think you know more than, even if someone is younger than you and maybe you feel they have less experience, they can correct something you don't know. Someone one time came and told me, OJ, why do you shoot like this? And I told them, but the things are entering. Then he told me, my coach told me to do like this. When I inquired from my coach was also saying, yes, that's how you're supposed to do it. So do not underestimate someone else, because the game is taught to you by everyone around you, your environment. Be humble, be consistent, and don't give up. People will doubt you, people will tell you you cannot do anything. But if you work hard, whether someone has talent or not, if you work hard, you will break through. That's it for me. That's it. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, OJ. Reminds me of a quote from Kevin Durant. He says that hard work beats talent when talent fails to work hard.
Indeed.
And that is what you're saying. Well, I just want to thank you for being with us here on Slam Dunk Basketball Talk. I believe that, all the words of wisdom you have passed on, to your team, to everyone out there watching, to those who are trying to get into the game of basketball, and also other coaches have really been helpful. And I wish you all the best in your career.
Thank you
also
very much.
for the games that are coming up. And hopefully next time you'll come back here with a trophy and,
I look forward to that.
We'll celebrate something like that. For you who's watching, thank you for being with us on House of Talent Television, the Slam Dunk Basketball Talk with me, Emmanuel. Catch us again next time where we will be dissecting the game of basketball, talking about different perspectives. Till next time, have a blessed day.